my name is Andrea Lara. Today we're talking about the Wright brothers. You may have heard about them. Well, what inspired me to learn about the Wright brothers was one time my abuelo told me that the Wright brothers were the first people to fly the airplane in the United States. So that made me wonder, who were the Wright brothers? What airplanes did they build? What age did they start building it? And how did they build it? So today, I'd like you to meet Wilbur and Orville, the Wright brothers! Wilbur and Orville Wright were two brothers that built bicycles and lived in Dayton, Ohio, in the United States. Wilbur was born in 1867 near Mayville, Indiana. 4 years later, Orville was born in 1871. Life was different then. The fastest way to travel in those times was by train. Growing up, Wilbur and Orville did everything together. They were brothers and best friends. The Wright brothers were curious kids. Orville once said that they were lucky to grow in a home where the kids were encouraged to learn. The flying bat. The Wright brothers were hooked on flying since they worked together to build a flying bat toy. They worked hard to solve problems together. They decided to open a business together. First, they opened a printing press called West Side News. Then, they opened a bicycle shop. It was called the Wright Cycle Company. The Wright brothers observed birds and realized that there were 4 forces of flight, which are weight, lift, thrust, and drag. They knew they needed to find the right balance of these forces to keep a plane in the air. They did many experiments on the kites and gliders, but they knew what they needed, a motor. The Wright brothers built the Wright Flyer. It was made from wood with wings over 40 feet and 4 inches wide. They covered it with fabric and added a propeller. They went to Kitty Hawk in North Carolina to test their flyer. After many tests, they were able to make it fly on December 17, 1903. Learning about the Wright brothers took me on a journey to Florida Air Museum in Lakeland, Florida. There, they had a replica of the Wright Flyer that was used in 1903. I had the opportunity to interview a historian and ask him questions about the Wright brothers. This is what he said. And how old were they when they were building airplanes?
So they were in their 30s. Their company was originally a bike store. So you would go to them, you order a bicycle, and then they would build it, and then that bicycle would be yours, right? Eventually, they got into airplanes. They liked building airplanes, and so that's why they took their expertise or their engineering knowledge, and then they put it towards airplanes, building the glider and then the flyer. So they were just a little bit older than I am, and they were changing the world.
Mm-hmm. And how many airplanes did they build?
So that's a really, really good question. So their company, which was the Wright, I forgot what it was called in the early years, but the Wright Corporation eventually got purchased by my namesake, Glenn Curtis, and it formed a conglomerate, which is just a group of companies, and it was called the Curtis Wright Corporation. And the Curtis Wright Corporation ended up building all kinds of airplanes up until the end of World War II, and then even today they are still a technology company that builds stuff. So you can go and you can order a Curtis Wright, piece of equipment and have it delivered to your door. So they're still around, but they don't build airplanes anymore.
And why did they choose to build an airplane?
Well, so like any good invention, right, it serves a need. So you see that you really want your floor to be cleaner, and mops just aren't doing it anymore, and so you develop some sort of a polisher that can polish your floor. So the airplane was a response to a need that was seen by humanity, right? So ever since Leonardo da Vinci and some of the older people from our species had been looking towards the birds and looking into the sky, they had been dreaming of flight, and they wanted to get up in the air. And so they started with gliders and hot air balloons, and eventually they wanted something a little bit more maneuverable. And so that's why they decided to put a motor on a glider and try it out and see what happens. And it was successful. And then just 10 years later, right here in our backyard in Tampa Bay, you have the first ever commercially scheduled airline flight between St. Petersburg and Tampa. And that, have you ever been on an airline, a commercial airliner?
In an airplane. Yes.
So that experience came direct from Tony Janice's first ever flight right here at Tampa Bay. Without them blazing that path for us, we wouldn't be able to fly everywhere where we do today. And that, in a way, also stems right from the Wright brothers, because the Wright brothers were the trailblazers who have brought the airplane into being.
As I looked at all the awesome airplanes in the museum, I learned about different flight pioneers. They were inspired by the Wright brothers in the United States. As part of my Brazilian heritage, I also learned about Santos Dumont, a Brazilian pilot and inventor who was actually the first ever invent and fly an airplane in the world. The Wright brothers became known worldwide and opened a Wright company that made more than a dozen different kinds of planes. They even started a flight school. Wilbur died of typhoid when he was only 45, and his brother Orville died of a heart attack when he was only 76 years old, but the legacy continues to this day. They were hardworking. They built bikes and opened many businesses and invented airplanes. They built over a dozen different models of airplanes. This inspires me to work hard by studying science, working hard to find new ways to help the earth. They were smart. The Wright brothers invented a flying toy that made them wonder about flying. They were smart and read many books that helped them find ways to make their inventions better. I also like to do science work, research science facts, and learn math and other things. They were brave. Building an airplane must have been difficult and scary sometimes, but the Wright brothers were brave and they did not give up. I remember when I was brave, I went on snorkeling in 10 feet deep water. It was scary, but an amazing experience. The Wright brothers accomplished so many things because they did not give up. I hope you liked this video. Now let me leave you with something. What happens with bad plane jokes? They never land.